As you know, the guy on screen right here with me, I've talked about him a lot. You guys are all fans of him anyway, half of you I know, because we talk about him all the time. So we've got Phil from Wings of Pegasus here to share with us some exciting new things that he's working on. He's been dropping hints on his channel. If you follow him, you've been hearing about this here and there, that there's some exciting new initiatives that he's working on. And I think we kind of have a hint about what this stuff might be, but I'm excited to get into some detail work and talk with you a little bit about it. So we're welcoming Phil. Here's Phil from Wings of Pegasus. Thanks for joining us here, Phil. So
hello. Well, thank you for having me.
yeah.
Again, it's all quite exciting at the moment because I've been working on something for probably just over a year now. So it's been a long time coming, and it's been a long time that I haven't been able to say anything about what I've been working on. But yes, it's kind of all coming to fruition now, which is great. And it's very much related to what I do on my channel. In a nutshell, what I've been working on is a service that is going to authenticate vocals. So it's going to let people know what they're going to be listening to. And I'm focusing really to begin with on live events. So when people buy tickets for a show, they know what they are paying for, because that, I would say, that's probably the main point that people bring up when they email me. And sometimes with the videos that I've done in the past on, big bands, and that people have been to watch and have paid maybe hundreds, if not thousands of dollars on those tickets. And then I do a video saying that, oh, this is lip synced, or this is auto tuned, or whatever it might be, because I'm just pointing out what's going on. And I then get emails from people saying, I went to that show and that isn't what I paid for. And I regret paying that amount of money. If I'd known it wasn't going to be live, or if it was going to be lip synced, whatever it might be, I would not have gone to that show. And unfortunately, nowadays with ticket prices, it can be thousands of dollars. So it's almost like a life choice. You think, well, should I buy tickets for that? It's a lot of money, because that could go to so many other more important things, like bills and, but so it's a really tough decision for people. But then they think, right, well, I'm only ever going to be able to see this live maybe this time, so I'm going to go and watch it. And then, I mean, some people even turned up and could tell that it wasn't live, that it was lip synced. So yeah, really, that was the driving force behind it. And my focus to begin with is going to be authenticating live performances, so people know what they're paying for. So
I have a million questions about it already. How are you going to do it? Like, how's this going to work? This is, what an ambitious thing. I mean, as far as I have a million questions about. So can you get into a little bit more of the logistics and the granular, like how?
Yeah. So what I've done and what I've kind of worked over the last year is getting a registered trademark, which is something that can only be applied to authenticated performances. So it's illegal for anyone else to use this trademark. So, I mean, once I kind of had that covered from a legal standpoint, it meant that, right, now what I do on my channel with analyzing performances, running it through pitch monitoring software, and what I do that I don't show, for every analysis video, I will watch other performances that I'm not showing in the final video, but I'm building up a baseline of somebody's voice in terms of their natural tendencies, their overall pitch accuracy. Even though when I do check out, and you'll know, when you do check out a performance and it's clearly pitch corrected or auto-tuned, you can tell straight away, not even having that knowledge of how they sing fully live, you can hear, well, yeah, this is obviously being tuned or has been, post-edited. So what I don't show on my videos is, getting that basic appreciation of somebody's voice. And I'm going to be applying exactly what I've been doing for the last however many years on my channel with people that would want to be authenticated. Will get in touch with me, and there'll be the website, which is just authenticvocal.com, and they can go on there. And already I've had great support from people in the vocal coaching community, but also in the industry generally, and the production side of things, and bands and singers themselves, who all sound very positive about bringing this in, because I mean, all it's doing at the end of the day is giving people transparency or the option to make an informed decision about what they might want to spend their money on, which is something that is afforded to every consumer apart from the music industry. It's like you can pay for something, you can turn up and then realize this isn't what I paid for. So, you know, where do I go to get my refund? And then the music industry says, no, you've paid. And that's it. That's the end of it, even though we weren't really being honest with what you were paying for.
So people will reach out to you and they'll say, hey, I want to be a certified Phil organic artist, and you get the little trademark. So then my next question is, when you do this analysis, will you reject people that have auto-tune or are singing live but have backing tracks? Like, where do you draw the line on getting the trademark and not getting the trademark?
Yeah. So how it's going to run is people will get in touch with you, and I'm assuming it's going to be, you know, potentially every kind of artist, even independent artists that just want people to know, look,
yeah,
you know, if you
like this is the real deal. Yeah, right.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm actually going to be singing live. So when they approach me and approach Authentic Vocal, and I'm kind of overseeing everything because it's kind of my project.
Do you have a team? When you're working with a team then?
No, at the moment it's just me.
Okay.
And I mean, this is something about me, is that I do take on quite a lot of stuff myself.
I know. I watch your work, dude. I thought I'm doing a lot. Your output's insane. It's good.
So yeah, I mean, throughout my kind of music career, it's always been the case that I've had to end up learning to do whatever I wanted to do myself because other people let you down. So it's very much the same here. So this is what I'm calling a side project with, you know, Wings of Pegasus and everything that I do on my channel. But there's a chance that if it does take off and if it kind of goes as positively as I'm hoping, then it might be then the case of, turning it more into a hiring business that I need more people to help me out with this. But at the moment, it's going to be myself doing it. And it might get to a point where I can't do it all myself, but I with what this is about and what it entails, I like the idea of me being in control and people knowing me from my YouTube channel.
Right.
So they know what they're signing up for. And if I'm behind an artist or, you know, a singer, vocalist, that's my reputation that I'm putting behind them with this logo. So how it will work is that they'll contact me, say, look, I'm interested in getting authenticated. I can say, great, fine. Give me the project that you're working on. And it's most likely going to be live dates. So I'll then have a list of their dates that they might want to put on their promotional material for their tour, for example, where they can put the logo on there so that people, when they look at that tour, they can see, oh, this is going to be a live vocal. And, you know, it might be put on tickets as well. That's probably something that Ticketmaster will have to kind of work out with the artist or something. But if they can have this trademark, it means, everybody knows it's going to be fully live. And at the point of them making that request of me, I'm going to do what I do with my analysis videos. Like you said, get that background appreciation of them as an artist, their sound, whether they have used auto-tune or, you know, pitch correction or lip synced live. There's a lot of stuff on the internet, so you can find a lot of performances, even ones from years and years ago. So it's kind of building up that. But like I said, it's kind of my reputation that I'm putting behind them. So we come to an agreement and we sign a contract. They sign a contract with me and they say that, right, I'm going to do as you request in this particular contract. And if that contract is breached on the, say, for example, I mean, I can't see people doing this. I don't know why they would do this, but let's say, for example, they've signed a contract with me saying that it's going to be authentically live and everything. And then they perform, which I will be monitoring. So this is another thing, that when they play a show, I'm going to either get footage from that show, which either I can get myself, or I've got lots of other people who can go to a show and just record it on their phone, because that's all I need is their vocal. And it means that, like I said, I don't know why somebody would do this, but let's say, for example, that they go out and they're covered by Authentic Vocal and they're lip syncing or they're using auto-tune. Then that's it. You know,
revoke the trademark.
Exactly. Yeah. Everything gets
Permanent
taken away.
band.
And
Yeah.
what I say on there's like an information sheet that people get when going through the process, and on the contract as well. I'm very clear about it that if you breach this agreement, that because it's my reputation on the line,
Yeah.
it means that you're not going to be covered, and any future covering, if you say, oh look, we made a mistake, can you cover us for this future show, it's most likely going to impact negatively on that. So, and the other thing is that people know that I have a channel that's got a fair amount of subscribers on it.
Yeah.
And if somebody does breach a contract on that side of things, I can mention it on my channel. So it means potentially there's a lot of reasons not to,
Yeah.
to kind of, oh, we'll use this so that we can maybe pretend to be something we're not.
The internet is big, but it's also small. So, they can, and you do have some followers that they do, you've trained your followers. You have some real people with skills for pitch analysis in your crew. They're now are in my crew too, that talk with me all the time. And they're like, so it's exciting that your content is engaging. It's fun to watch, but you're pointing out things that are, that's so important, and you've got so many people that are passionate about this movement that you've created. It's amazing. It's really exciting to watch it, and for to do my little part to share out to my people and say, hey, this is really exciting. And for me, it's so important because from my standpoint, as we talked about before, like I've been a voice teacher for 25 years, like building muscle memory, myelinating neural pathways, helping people figure out you play guitar, you sing, you do all of this stuff. You know what it takes to build muscle memory. It's a slow, consistent, steady journey of a hell of a lot of hard work, and it's something that we can't, like, using software and things to skirt around that when someone's done that work. And then I was so shocked when I realized how few people could hear it. When I thought it was obvious, and I'll show it to people and they'll say, wait, I don't hear it, or I'm not hearing it like you, Tim. And it's like, to me, I'm like, I hear a half a second and it's like, oh my God, like this is, and I feel like now after 8 months of this reacting, I feel like now, I mean, I can pick out, I bought Antares software, the AutoTune Pro 11. I bought it. I didn't have it. I've had some of like the Logic softwares, but I bought Antares AutoTune Pro. I bought the latest Melodyne, just so that I could be up to date on things, because I wanted to tinker with it and see how it's done. And I was blown away by Antares AutoTune Pro 11. I don't know if you played with it recently, but they've got this like humanize button on it, and they've got these, the variability on it is freaky. And so you sit down and play with that for an hour or so, and you start seeing how they can soften the intensity of the pitch correction, as well as, make it kick in a way that it just leaves a little looseness in it, but it's still correcting. It's mind-blowing. It's like we're working 10 times harder to fake it out, but it's leaving these little digital artifacts, which I know you hear them too. I've watched your video. As soon as they kick on, I go, oh, that's definitely corrected. I know, I can see you have a little like, and so it's like, this is such an important thing, because as a voice teacher, like I was really blind to it before, truly. Like before, I knew people were doing it, but to the level that people were doing it, and there were some people that do it, and it feels a little more like an artistic thing, like you listen to sometimes hip hop artists, or like the duet with Lana Del Rey and Quavo, that song Tough. Like that was an artistic effect. It was kind of like that hip hoppy, almost like that T-Pain-ish effect. And that's really almost a part of the genre of the style. But then when we start talking about artists who are literally trying to deceive you about what they're doing, that's like, I sang this, but I don't want you to think it was that. I want you to think it was something else, but it's not like a style thing. This is just me faking it. When I realized how much of that was happening, I was thinking about my students. Like, I'm still a full-time voice teacher. YouTube's eating a lot of my time, but like, I still have a full client roster. I still have instructors that are teaching with me, that we talk voice pedagogy and technique all the time. And, for me to realize how many people are idolizing singers that rarely are singing live. they're idolizing their voice. Like, oh my God, I can't believe fill in the blank just did that last night on fill in the blank's show, and then I'll say, well, actually they didn't do that. So don't necessarily hold yourself to that standard. It's cool that now we're going to have artists that we can say, hold yourself to that standard because that's legit. That's a real voice, so.
Yeah, I think there are certainly different angles. When I was designing this and thinking of, people that are paying money to see things and it's not what they think it is, that's an important enough issue by itself, just from a, almost a governmental point of view and a commerce point of view and protecting the customer, all that kind of stuff that the government is so careful to do in business, is protecting the customer so that you can't be sold something that's fake. So when I then thought of the vocal coaching angle, which of course I see on my channel as well, that potentially students are going to be listening to voices and getting down on themselves that they're not as accurate as that vocalist, but they don't know the vocalist they're listening to isn't as accurate as themselves because they're not doing it. So there's so much, there's so many levels to it that just being honest, it is going to help so many different areas of music, not only maybe giving the younger generation of singers a little bit more confidence to think, oh, right, that's why it sounds like that, because it doesn't have the logo on it. But this other person who does have the logo, that's the voice that I can maybe learn from, see what they're doing. And if they want to analyze it with pitch monitoring software, they can see how accurate they are to A440. And, shock horror, it's not going to be on the lines. And then they'll think, oh, so my vocal accuracy is similar to my idols. And, that is such, I don't know, an inspiring thing, but a motivational thing to think that, oh, I'm not as bad as I thought I was, because now I know what I'm listening to. And just by bringing that in, when you mention about the artistic applications of auto-tune, for example, in different genres of music, again, it's art. So people can do what they want. And those are the tools that they can use. And by bringing in mentioning or people knowing when a particular bit of software or maybe live auto tunes being used, by bringing that in, we don't actually lose anything, because the people that use it artistically, everyone knows they use it. So it's already open. But like you say, you've got that other side of things where you've got the artists that use it and it's obvious and they're quite open about it because that's their sound, that's their art. Then you've got the other side of things where they're using it and everyone says, oh, wow, you've got such an amazing voice. You're so accurate in that performance. And then there's silence. They don't say, oh, you know why? Because, I'm using auto-tune and I'm not that accurate, but it's just what I use live. There are some artists who do that, who say, oh, I use auto-tune live. And it's for the people that aren't saying it and might be very well-known singers. And then people are trying to sing like them and they don't understand why they can't do it. And it's like, well, it takes someone like me on the internet to point out that, well, they're not saying it, but I can show you and I can tell you and I can show you on a pitch graph that they are being tuned, that they are stuck to these lines. So yes, it's a huge part, I think, of society at the moment, where for some reason it's stopping at the music industry, where we've got this whole approach of accepting each other and all of our differences, and everyone's unique, and all of the flaws that you might have, embrace them, because we're all unique. Everyone's different. No one person is the same. So we'll come in different shapes and sizes, and to embrace that. And then as soon as we get to singing, it's like, oh, but don't embrace your voice. Change it.
Exactly. You're not enough. It's not enough just natural and it's got to be, which, it is a comment on society too. I mean, we could look at this in almost every other aspect of art or fashion or the way people look. I mean, there's, this whole hyper perfectionism thing is it's across the culture, it's across society. So, we're kind of fighting back against it here in the musical and audio and vocal world. So, man, super cool. Question for you about it. Do you think it's possible with AI development in the future to be able to develop a piece of software that can do your job for you, that with just it goes out and it can just do a deep detection of sort of a forensic level digital artifact discovery thing. Do you think some softwares like that in the future is possible to design?
Um, I don't know. It's very difficult. I was talking recently with another vocal coach called Chris Lipe, who I
Oh, I
know.
know Chris. I know. I follow Chris. Yeah, he's awesome. Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I was talking with Chris about this as well, and he was asking me lots of different questions about it. And he's done a quote for the website when it comes out, so he's kind of fully on board with it and supporting
Awesome.
it, which is great. And again, he's from that vocal coach angle, saying that people need to know when they're learning to sing what is real and what isn't. So yeah, we were talking about this, and he was in the process of, and is in the process of, designing a vocal app, and he's already kind of done one, and it's all very unique, and I won't say too much about it because Chris will be announcing it in the future.
Awesome.
But part of it was a pitch analysis and a harmonic analysis of the voice, breaking it into the harmonics that make up the sound.
I was going to ask about that too. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah. So he was, I mean, we were just chatting about it because he said, oh, maybe this is something that you could use with Authentic Vocal. If you want to get really detailed into it, you can start analyzing the harmonics and not only the pitch. So I thought, well, yeah, potentially. I mean, for my channel, it's great to show on screen very clearly for people to understand what's going on. But then possibly for Authentic Vocal, I could jump into infinitely more detail in the human voice and be able to suss out what's going on. But in terms of developing a program that could do that, I'm not sure how. I mean, I don't know about developing programs and stuff. All I know is that what you'd have to do is give it what I know from 10 years of watching live performances, what is real, what isn't real, because now AI voices, they don't sound like machines. They're not perfect on A440. They're sounding quite genuine. And AI is very good at copying something. I mean, it's always, the test is always going to be live when you turn up and there's nobody on stage and it just plays out the speaker and you go, oh, it was an AI voice, didn't you know? Right. You know, so that's always going to be the level is performing live, which is very much what I'm kind of focusing on to begin with. So
that makes sense.
Yeah, try to think of developing something that can spot or hear what I'm hearing at the time that I'm hearing it. And I don't know, I think I've got something where I kind of know how the human voice works. And as soon as you get, I mean, it might be the case that for really heavy pitch corrected vocals or auto-tune vocals, I do say in my videos, as soon as a vocalist is hitting 4, 5, 6 lines perfectly at A440, then it starts to become a little bit, oh, okay, right, this looks like it's being manipulated.
I've been using that as my model when I do my stuff. If I listen to something, I hear something funny. That's kind of because I saw that in one of your videos that, you know, and it's true. Like you're going to hit one here or there, but usually when you hit one, the next couple are a little loose and then it tightens back up again. There is that sort of elasticity to it. And when you see it not happening, when it's all just bang on the line, I even took some of your language when I talk about it. Like it's bang on the line. Like I've taken some of your I don't know. It's funny. You have a really good way of languaging it. And it's you know, so it's very cool. But yeah, it would be interesting to see if somebody could build something. It's when somebody copies you. That's when it happens. When we've got the AI Phil out there and we can't tell. Is this the real Phil? Is this the AI Phil?
But this is, I mean, this is the idea that with especially me setting it up and launching it, it's very much me saying, look, I'm doing this and this is the logo that is me doing it. So, I mean, there might be, you know, people in the future that might think, oh, I want to do my version of this and I'm going to authenticate vocals, and they can do that. But when I was talking to a lawyer friend of mine a few months ago, they said, well, anybody could try and copy this and do their own version of it. But what are the chances that that company is going to be affiliated, maybe not publicly, with one of the major labels? because we know already that it happens on YouTube with The First Take, for example, which is a YouTube channel that shows the first take of a performance, and they say it's fully unedited, it's totally live, all the mistakes are left in. And then I did an analysis of one of the performances that voices were happening when they weren't singing, and Avril Lavigne was heavily auto-tuned. So you think, well, this is edited, and then you find out that it's owned by Sony, but it's not public knowledge that it's owned by Sony. So there's the incentive to say, oh, it's totally natural, these people are just that good. It's like, well, no, they're not. They are edited. And they go, oh yeah, but there's a financial incentive for the record label to make their artists look as good as possible, and I don't know, keep up this lying, dishonest culture of the major labels, because there's money in it. And the massive example that I can give is that if you've watched my channel, you know how long I've been doing this, and you know that I cover everyone. I've got no affiliation to any record label. So from that position, like the lawyer said, yeah, somebody else could set it up, but how are they ever going to get over that? That will say, yeah, but of course you're going to say that they're totally, totally natural and amazing, and, perform live without any auto-tune, because you actually own the artist, or it's in your interest. It's not in my interest to favor anyone over anyone, because, on my channel, I look at everything, and it's exactly the same for the Authentic Vocal, logo and the people that will be able to display it. I've just been through exactly the same process. So yeah, and that's it. So as for the AI, but yeah.
So one last question for you that I got to ask you before you go, because I feel like this kind of plays in too. I started a metal channel where I was going to start reacting to metal. I was debating whether to keep it on my main reaction channel, but I decided to pop it off because it's a whole different group of people. And so, I mean, not all, you say that, and then people are like, no, Tim, I listen to heavy metal, and I also listen to, Karen Carpenter or whatever, so it's like, there are people that are doing all of, or that are diverse in that way. But I started listening and reacting to metal, and I realized that there's a different fake potential going on over there that I haven't heard you address on your channel. And that's the faking in the depth of tone in a death growl, all of those types of tones, and so what I was curious about was, not only doing the validating through pitch correction analysis, but also through, this is where the overtone tone quality analysis stuff, I think, could really be interesting, because there are other attributes that people like to fake also, not just pitch accuracy, you know what I mean? So
yeah.
Have you thought about that side of it at all?
Yeah. So, I mean, fundamentally, because I'm right at the beginning of the journey, I'm very clear for a vocal to be authentic, because it's called Authentic Vocal, it has to be, as we are talking here, it has to be the vocal into the microphone, and then we hear the vocal that was produced into the microphone coming out of the speakers. So it doesn't go through any processing. It is a totally natural voice. Now, as for having backing vocals, for example, and things that are going to be in the background, that's something that I think, well, predominantly, I just want to make sure the main artists, the people that are paying the money to watch, that they are actually doing it, that they're singing live and they're giving you an authentic vocal. And they might have, loads of backing singers, and I'm just really focused on the main vocal. And I have thought about in the future that there's every chance that it might roll out to TV performances, or even imagine I mean, it sounds stupid to say imagine at a music awards show, knowing that the vocal's live.
Yeah, right.
But it is that kind of thing that, it could roll out, because I'm just focusing on that live vocal. When a live performance happens, the logo just appears at the bottom right of the screen, and everybody knows what's going on. I think,
that's cool.
Right, well, hear a live vocal, and people, I think it would be great for obviously award shows where we're celebrating the artistry
Right.
and the vocal ability, as that's what it's all about. But yeah, for covering that lead vocal, that's what I'm looking at the moment. What you're referring to, I would probably class as having a live vocal with a help track or something that's effectively maybe even being played along to with a click, so that they're all in sync and they've got another growl that is lower in the mix, backing up that lead vocal. And in that particular case, I mean, I'm very clear, again, in the information that people will receive, that an authentic vocal is a predominant live vocal.
Right.
So I'm not talking about somebody, maybe singing in a verse, and then for the chorus, their help track comes in
Right.
at the same level, if not louder than their lead vocal. That's not going to cut it for an authentic vocal. You've got to be able to supply your vocal as the predominant vocal of the mix. And yeah, you can have backing track elements in there with, backing. Like I said, I think a lot of bands do that live, but the difference is and I've mentioned this in videos on my channel in the past, that a backing track is backing. It's
Right.
not taking the lead singer's role. And like I've said, loads of bands have little things that might come in, like extra synth or a special effect that is on the studio version. But then if you're now saying, well, we'll just put on the lead vocal so the singer can actually stop singing and you still hear them, it's like, well, yeah, that's not what authentic vocals about. But again, this with people requesting to be covered, this will all be covered when I ask them about what they do live, what their setup is. And because I've played live quite a lot, I know how things are set up live, so I can even ask for a breakdown of their vocal setup and how, if they do have an effects chain, kind of what they run in there.
Right.
And I'll be able to watch that throughout kind of historic performances as well, potentially. So yeah, it will be getting into quite a lot of detail just to make sure that everything is fully above board. But
That's
yeah,
insane.
but as for this, I guess it's a different kind of singing or vocal technique of, kind of screams or, screaming, of having this kind of underlayer there. But
inside of, I was noticing in Antares software that they have a form and shift option where you can literally just add more depth to your tone just with I believe it was a dial. It may have been something you had to change separately. But I mean, form and shifting with a dial. So, it's like you just make your head bigger with a dial or not. It's kind of like that effect. So anyway, man, wow. I am blown away by it. This is really amazing what and I have to say, one of the biggest things that I've just been blown away by you is your courage. And I mean, you may not feel that way now because you're so used to doing it, but for those of you guys at home, it's scary to just bring stuff up like that. When I first started reacting and I was hearing this stuff, a lot of my first reactions, I heard it and I didn't talk about it. I mean, to be fully honest, I would hear things were going on. I was like, and then in my mind during the reaction, I'm thinking, well, I'm not sure if I should say this. So thankfully there was I've been teaching voice for so long, there's a million things to talk about. So I would pick one of the other million things to talk about. But then I always felt a little weird, afterward, until I decided to say, to hell with it. I'm just going to bring it up for better or worse. And people they're going to say what they're going to say. And that's it. So I talk about it. I don't do a full on analysis like you do all the time. I do it sometimes. What I'll do mostly is if I hear the artifact, I'll bring it up and I'll just say, that sounds corrected to me. If it's really significant, then I'll usually pull it into Melodyne and then I show it in Melodyne. I just do a screen capture from there and I'll talk and I just kind of leave it there. And usually I'll say it looks a little worked on to me, maybe send it over to Phil. I kind of take that approach with it. But it was, when I first started, it was really stressful. I was clammy palms about hitting publish on the YouTube videos. And now I feel better about it because the alternative is to not have integrity. And I'm not down with that. That doesn't feel, I believe in having integrity. Like that's like I've built my business on that. I would like to continue to build my business and my work on that. So, I just think it's so awesome. And I think that the more that we all talk about it and the more that you just are courageously leading the way for us all to safely talk about it, and also to have you as a reference when we're hearing something to help out in figuring it out. Because, sometimes it can be a little tricky because there are varying levels of accuracy. And so, really being able to discern.
We're so far down the rabbit hole that we've got to try and kind of climb out of it and say, well, hang on, let's get back to honesty. Yeah. And like you say, with particular artists who are very honest in their music, why can't that extend to being honest about the voice and the way that people sing? Because that is going to make their music even more unique, because everybody sings differently. Yeah. Everyone has their own unique voice. Yeah. So this is it. That there are so many different angles to it, but I think just for society, we've got those views of society now of being totally open and transparent, but I think it's about time we roll that out to music as well, because it's such an important art form, and the voice is such an expressive instrument that we should just let it do what it does, and then I think the industry will be the better for it.
You are leading an amazing, exciting mission here, my friend. So I'm excited to do what I can to be a part of it here and spread the word in whatever ways I can. So, as you have things coming up that you want to share about, just let me know. I know that a lot of people that are watching my reactions are big fans of you too. So we're all cheering you on, and I'll spread the word on this and get everybody to share away with it too. So I can't wait to see your first artist that you decide to go. Do you have a time frame for when you plan to have your first authentic vocal trademark on someone's channel or whatever?
Well, at the moment, it's kind of the launch 23rd of February, and from then on, whatever happens. And from that site going live, I'll kind of see it. I mean, it's just going to be pretty straightforward. There's just going to be a contact form on the website if you are interested, and then that'll go straight through to my emails, and I can have a look. And from then on, what I have set up is an Instagram account and also another YouTube channel.
What's the name of the channel?
Official Authentic Vocal.
Okay, Official Authentic Vocal is go follow up over there. My concern, I'm a little concerned for your time. I feel like you are already, because I know I know about content output now, doing this more, and I look at your content, and you are a machine, and now you're adding on this gigantic project. Wherever you got a lot of people that are going to be watching your health, making sure your skin's looking okay and you're looking healthy and your hoodie looks clean.
I don't get any whiter. The sun's in England.
It's good stuff, man. It's exciting. It's so exciting, man. So
I think it might get to the point where, because it's so closely related to what I do on the channel anyway, that some videos might be me talking about this particular artist that we're now covering, and maybe their tour. And if you guys want to go and check out an authentic vocalist, then this is the person that might be touring near you or something like that. But I mean, it'll be a great problem to have that it does get out there a lot.
That'd be amazing.
And it really
for a reactor vocal analysis standpoint, it's nice to know that there are some artists that have your seal on it, that I don't have to go in a little bit postured, like, okay, what am I about to get here? How much am I going to have to talk about the pitch correction? I'm not going to have to go there. It's going to be refreshing.
So that's kind of how long it takes to roll it out to kind of live performances. I mean, it would be good, I think, for shows to have it, because we've got shows here in the UK where one called the Graham Norton Show, where they have a live performance at the end of the show, and it would be great for just for people to know that, oh, this person's actually doing this. And like you say, that if you're then asked to look at one of those performances, it's like you can breathe out and think, right, I don't have to get into all of this tuning stuff, because I can literally analyze a natural voice, and everything that you can do as a teacher is now totally valid, and you can point out all these different things that are totally natural and technique based.
I can say they've got great pitch accuracy. This singer has great pitch accuracy, right? I can say that again.
Yeah. They've actually worked at it to get it this good.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Awesome. Right, Phil, thanks so much for stopping by. This is really exciting. I'm excited to push this out, and we'll be following along to see how it's going. So just check in the description. All of the links that we want you to have from this video are going to be down there to click on. And if you don't follow Phil already, go over and follow his channel and just start deep diving. You're going to get hooked in there and learn a lot of very, very exciting things. So thanks for taking the video, Phil. This was really fun talking with you.
No problem. Thanks for having me.